Hello folks, Michael Lemoncookie here with my personal review on NXT TakeOver Portland, which took place last night. I watched it on the WWE Network, which is, by the way, still available for just $9.99 per month. And I'm trying to do this review now without any notes from my memory. And what can I say about the event? I tried to watch it live, which didn't quite work because I'm from Germany and you always have to stay up late, have to watch it in the middle of the night. Usually that's not a big problem for me, but I fell asleep during the Bianca Belair Rhea Ripley match for a few moments, then woke up again, got spoiled, got to know the result, fell asleep again in the tag team title match, and yeah, watched a lot of the stuff the next morning. So it was a little bit half and half, watched it a bit live, a bit later, being spoiled. My overall view on the show is that it was a very good event. I like NXT. I even like the 2-hour edition of NXT. Of course, the 1-hour show was a lot better. But I'm also pretty old school. I have an old school mentality, so there's a lot on NXT that I don't like and I criticize a lot. And so this was a bit mix of both. But overall, I think it was one of the better takeovers, of the best takeovers. I personally enjoyed it a lot. But also on the other hand, there's a lot of criticism I have. So let's just talk about things chronologically. The show started with a match for the North American Championship. Keith Lee took on Dominik Dijakovic. Keith Lee finally won an NXT singles title a few weeks ago against Roderick Strong. And he has a personal rivalry and history with Dijakovic. And I have to say that I think the matches between these two are very overrated. They're good, but also very overrated. I like to complain about the lack of size in modern wrestling. I don't like that you almost have only cruiserweights running around everywhere. So I like the fact that two heavyweights fight for the North American Heavyweight Championship. But on the other hand, I don't really dig their fighting style. When I look at Keith Lee versus Dijakovic, I don't get the impression that I'm looking at a fight. It looks like two big fellas performing with each other, like they're doing ballet with each other and dancing with each other, if you know what I mean. A lot of their offense looks too fake, too contrived, too phony, and I don't get the impression that I'm looking at a fight in the ring. It is very impressive and very good that these two heavyweights can do the stuff that they do, but I think they should do it much less. It's okay if they can wrestle like Rey Mysterio, but do they these moves once or maybe twice per match and the effect will be much higher. Don't do this all the time. We get it. But from my personal taste, whenever I see these guys wrestle each other, they do too much of that flippy-floppy bullshit. It's cool that they can do it, but they are overdoing it. And that's a problem a lot of people have in modern wrestling. But that doesn't mean that I hate them and I hate the match. There was a lot of good stuff. I don't want to give the matches star ratings here because I change my mind about them every 5 minutes, so I don't give star ratings. But I think it was a good match. Just because I hated some of the offense doesn't mean that I disliked the match. There was some good hard-hitting stuff. I loved the fact that Keith Lee won the match clean with his finishing move, without any false finishes and unnecessary kickouts, like we saw a lot in another match of the night. Talking about that later. I liked a lot of the intensity, and I think both men have a bright future ahead. Keith Lee, certainly one of the most charismatic men on NXT, and Dijakovic, in my opinion, also has a bright future. But in my opinion, this was a match that didn't need to be on the TakeOver. It's cool that after all their history, they get their TakeOver moment with each other. But as you might have noticed, this TakeOver event last night had one more match in comparison to almost every other TakeOver event in history. Normally on TakeOver you have 5 matches. And for a good reason. Yesterday you had 6 matches, and I understand why they did that. The television show is twice as long as it used to be, so you build up more storylines, and you will reach the point when 5 matches isn't enough anymore. And that was the case. You could have also put Roderick Strong and the Velveteen Dream on the event, and nobody could really have complained about it because it would have made sense. But in my opinion, the show, one of the biggest criticisms was that the show was too long. And maybe that's also a reason why I fell asleep during it. Because on NXT TakeOver you see long match after long match after long match after long match after long match. And that is very, very exhausting to watch, even though most of the matches are great or good at least. But at least after 5 matches you are really, really, really exhausted. And 6 matches is, in my opinion, too much. So the next time they should go back to that formula of 5 matches on a TakeOver event, which is also why I had the personal impression that I would have cut that match with Lee and Dijakovic. I really didn't need that to be on the show. Then the match I looked forward the most, and I have to say I didn't really look forward to this TakeOver event too much. I didn't care about most of the angle advancements in previous weeks. But what I was looking forward to was Dakota Kai and Tegan Nox. 2 female wrestlers I like a lot. They have a good rivalry. I was really, really looking forward to that street fight. And I have to say, I'm not disappointed with what they showed me last night with their performance. Also kind of a mixed bag, because until the finish, when Raquel Gonzalez did the "Who's That?" run in and try to slam Tegan through the table. Until that false fake interference finish, I honestly thought that was the best women's match I had ever seen in my life. And I have watched a lot of wrestling in my life, I can tell you that. That finish dragged it down quite a bit for various reasons. But so overall, I would still say this was the best match on the fucking show. Dakota Kai and Tegan Nox gave me the best performance of TakeOver last night, because first and foremost, it felt like a real fight. These 2 ladies are absolute pros. Kayfabe might be dead, but you can resurrect it. These 2 sold their storyline all over the internet. They sold their storyline on Instagram. They sold it even on Up, Up, Down, Down on YouTube. They sold it in social media. Of course, everybody knows that in real life they probably are still friends, but they sold their rivalry everywhere they went. And you really had the impression that these 2 girls wanted to beat the holy fucking shit out of each other, and they did just that. The intensity was great, the sense of urgency was great, the action was great. I like both ladies. Both had new attires, so I like that Tegan Nox had a completely new attire with long pants, and even though she had some issues keeping that outfit in place, as you might have noticed. But I like that because these 2 ladies were a tag team previously, and these small details just add to the overall feeling of the storyline. They didn't wear the same attire anymore that they used to do when they were together in Team Kick. Both ladies moved on. Both have a different personality now, new attitude. And all these little things fit together very well, in my opinion. And so this match delivered big time. It was a great match. The best thing on the show. And I can only take my hat off for the performance of Dakota Kai and Tegan Nox generally in recent weeks. Both have a lot of well-documented injury history. And I'm glad that they can perform at such a level again. And I have to say, Dakota Kai, one of the biggest, most likable sweethearts you had ever seen in professional wrestling. Who would have thought that she can be such a convincing, mean bitch face heel? I don't think most people would have believed that this lovely person, this lady, can be such a convincing heel. But my God, she is a badass. She has the mean look on her face perfectly. She does all the small details absolutely right. And Bayley should take a page out of Dakota Kai's book. Bayley's heel turn is not half as great as Dakota's is. She should take lessons with King Coda on how to do an unexpected heel turn like that. And Tegan Nox, I would say both ladies are the future of the business, especially Tegan because she's still much younger than Dakota. What do I mean with much younger? But I think Tegan Nox is 6 years younger than Dakota. Both ladies have a bright future ahead, and I'm really looking forward to see what they can bring to the table. But my issue with the match, as I said, was the finish. I understand what they're trying to do. Like Dakota, both ladies are not the biggest performers, but Dakota is even smaller than Tegan. Dakota is now the heel, and they obviously want to give her some sort of bodyguard, some muscle, like Daniel Bryan used to have with Eric Rowan, like the Heartbreak Kid Shawn Michaels used to have with Diesel. So I think Raquel Gonzalez will be put in such a bodyguard position for Dakota, but I didn't think the storyline needed this at this moment. This was as personal as it gets, emotional rivalry, and I'm not sure if that's too cliche to give her that bodyguard already right now, because I wanted to see a pure one-on-one match and maybe even a third one. Both ladies are tied at one each now, and we still need a rubber match. We might get that at the next TakeOver or on NXT Weekly Television. I think they should definitely go to Florida at WrestleMania weekend and have another big gimmick match at the next TakeOver. And I'm not sure I want to see all this interference bullshit by Miss Gonzalez there. So that dragged everything down for me, but overall, just a great performance by both girls. Well, don't know if I can call them girls, by both ladies. And yeah, big thumbs up from my side for that. And while I'm at it, one thing I didn't like, just noticed it, just remembered it. Tegan Nox, she can be all that Lady Kane on social media, on YouTube. She's a big Kane fan. But girl, don't do choke slam in such a match. This was an emotional, personal, intense, exciting rivalry, and you have to tell me that Tegan Nox wants to do a choke slam on Dakota in that match? Tegan Nox is not a heavyweight. She's not a big woman. She's not a powerhouse. No way should she try to do a comedy move like a choke slam as if she was the Hurricane or Mighty Molly, whatever. Mighty Molly is also one of her favorites. In that match, at least you can say the choke slam didn't work, and the choke slam she did off the top rope wasn't really a choke slam, she just shoved her up. But in such a match, don't do such a comedy bullshit move. Please. Please. Then we had a match. Finn Balor against Johnny Gargano. It was a match I liked. Because, my god, Finn Balor, he is a beast. First, I wasn't the biggest fan of him going back to NXT because I think he had done everything there was in NXT. I understood that they had to put some sort of big name on NXT after they moved to the USA Network. But I wasn't too thrilled of Finn Balor going back. It made his main roster run look like a failure. He won the Universal Heavyweight Championship once, obviously got injured, never get it back. He had some good matches, some good rivalries on Raw and SmackDown. But overall, putting him back on NXT felt unnecessary in my opinion. And therefore, his NXT run so far didn't click with me that much. I liked his match with Ilya Dragunov at Worlds Collide. But I also liked his newfound intensity. But it hadn't convinced me that much. But last night, I have to say, the match against Johnny Gargano convinced me. Johnny Gargano is one of the best pure babyface underdogs that you have in the world of wrestling today. And therefore, that match delivered. But what I also liked about the match, what I liked the most about this match, was that they didn't do too much. They didn't do 97 million unnecessary kickouts in the finishing sequence. Finn Balor won the match with a 1916 DDT, clean as a sheet. The finishing move got hit, and the match was over, as it is supposed to be. Adam Cole should take a lesson from that. That's what I liked. Also, the match was maybe a little bit too long. They also lost me a little bit in the middle of it. Maybe that's also what made me tired. I read other reviews that some people found it boring. I didn't find it boring. I think the offense made sense most of the time. Finn Balor, he's in great shape. His offense is crisp, looks good, is believable, is entertaining. Johnny Gargano, he has some goofy moves that he shouldn't do and he doesn't need to do, but overall this was fine. For modern wrestling, I'll take anything that I can get. And I didn't have any real critic points for this match. I think this was a good match, well-structured match, well-executed match, and also, one of the bright points of the show. Balor won clean, and when I was watching last night, I thought, man, this Balor, put him back on Raw. Let him beat Brock Lesnar. Of course, he's a heel now, but this Finn Balor, like Pac is in AEW, he's not the biggest guy, but look at his physique. He's a machine. He could beat Brock Lesnar. I know they fought each other in the past at last year's Rumble event, and I don't think they will let him leave NXT already again. But my God, Finn Balor, he's on a roll. I thought he could be your next WWE champion. I know it won't happen, but that's what I thought when I watched the show. Then we got the match that put me to sleep, but I rewatched it, and it didn't put me to sleep because it was bad. I was just exhausted. I was just tired. It was in the middle of the night. It was 3 a.m. in the morning, and I fell asleep because of that. Because when I watched the match in its full length this morning, I really liked the match between Rhea Ripley and Bianca Belair for the NXT Women's Championship. First of all, I like that they put the women's word back in the title name. Last month they had changed it, so Rhea Ripley was only your NXT champion. So we had two NXT champions. Now it's called the Women's Championship again, because obviously it doesn't make sense to remove that word from the title name if you can't do the same on Raw and SmackDown. On Raw, you have the Raw Women's Champion. On SmackDown, you have the SmackDown Women's Champion. You can remove the word women there. Then you just have Becky, your Raw Champion. That sounds stupid, so they had to put the women back in the title name. So Rhea Ripley, once again, your NXT Women's Champion of the world. What I liked about the match, in my opinion, this was the second best match of the night. I read reviews, and I read that most people disagree with my opinion, but I also liked it that it was a believable match. Okay, you could make a point that Balor vs. Gargano was better, but I liked Bianca and Rhea. They had a believable match with not much bullshit. The offense looked good on both sides. Both are over. The fans, generally, this was a great crowd in Portland, Oregon. Great city for entertainment, I think. The girls, the ladies, are over with the crowd. The people care about them. Their offense looks good. They're in great shape. They told a believable and interesting storyline in the ring. They had a clean finish with a convincing riptide off the top rope. I like that. No bullshit false finish with 97 trillion kickouts again. And you weren't sure how the match was gonna end. You could tell me before the match that Bianca Belair had a shot at winning the title. They had teased a triple threat match with Charlotte already. And you didn't know. Maybe now, after the show, I think it's obvious that we will get a singles match between Charlotte and Rhea at WrestleMania. Okay, if you see that Charlotte attacked Bianca after the match, you could still make a point that it might be a triple threat match. But I think Bianca got beat clean, so I think this chapter is over for her for now. But when the match started, you didn't know if Rhea Ripley was gonna leave Portland as the NXT Women's Champion or not. That's what I also liked about the match. In hindsight, you could argue before the show that you could have picked a different challenger, because Bianca Belair had been used as unsuccessful title challenger before in the past. Now she got her title match again, and once again she didn't win. That makes her look a little bit bad after all the hype around her after the Royal Rumble. But I think she's still over. I think obviously both ladies are also the future of the business. I can say the same about them, what I said about Dakota and Tegan. This is a potential WrestleMania main event in 2 or 3 years. Bianca and Rhea Ripley. They have the talent, they have the overness, they have the worth ethic. I'm only surprised to see what these two ladies will show us in the future. That was a good match. And I think Bianca should win the Women's Battle Royal at WrestleMania at least. I'm now surprised. You saw Charlotte Flair attacking both women after the match and declaring that she's now finally challenging Rhea Ripley for the NXT Women's Championship at WrestleMania. Yeah, you have to wonder if there will be an NXT Women's Championship match at TakeOver the night before WrestleMania, or 2 nights before WrestleMania. I don't know if TakeOver is going to be on a Friday or on a Saturday. I think Friday probably. I'm not sure if maybe Rhea Ripley will have to work double duty, defend the title on TakeOver and defend the title at WrestleMania. Maybe Bianca Belair will still be featured on maybe both shows in some way. As I said, I think she should at least win the Women's Battle Royal at WrestleMania to keep her relevant, and then put the title on her some weeks after WrestleMania. Rhea Ripley obviously is a huge star already, but what I'm not too convinced about is the way that they're using too much NXT female wrestlers on the road to WrestleMania now. WrestleMania is a show where casual viewers tune in, who don't watch NXT. Maybe they watch the Royal Rumble. Of course, you shouldn't focus all your WrestleMania plans around casual fans, but I'm a bit wondering, you have Rhea against Charlotte, that's fine, but you also have Shayna Baszler against Becky Lynch. So you potentially have 2 big women's matches at WrestleMania where the casual audience will not know the challenger or the champion because they don't know NXT. I think this is a bit risky planning in my opinion, but I don't know. We will see how that ends up. I would have wished that Ronda Rousey would have returned to challenge Becky once again, or to have the match. The singles match we never got. But now you get 2 big women's matches with NXT involvement at WrestleMania, probably. But I think, it's obvious Rhea Ripley should win the match to get the final push. She's the future of the business. Then we had a match for the NXT Tag Team Championships, the only title change of the night. The Broserweights, Pete Dunne and Matt Riddle, won the titles from the Undisputed Era, Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly, and I liked that decision to give them the titles. Why do I like that decision? First of all, I have to say I didn't like the result of the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic tournament. I did not like that once again a randomly thrown together team won the tournament. That has happened too much in the past. We see that almost every year. But I have to say, oh my god, these comedy segments with Pete Dunne and Matt Riddle were super entertaining, super funny. I think WWE should definitely make a whole movie with these 2 guys. These are 2 characters that couldn't be more different, and that's why it works. This is so entertaining. You got the long-haired stoner. Okay, they both have long hairs. You got the chilled out stoner Matt Riddle, and you got the super serious British man Pete Dunne, and my god, these segments really convinced me, and that's why I like that they won the title, because that means that these two will not have a feud with each other now, and they will stay together. So we will see more of that good stuff, because that's really good stuff. The match was pretty good. It didn't blow my mind. I like O'Reilly and Fish a lot. I think they're one of the best tag teams in the business. I love Matt Riddle. I have to say, I really, really like the fighting style that these former MMA guys and girls who come over from mixed martial arts to wrestling have. Because their offense most of the time looks more realistic, more credible, and more authentic. Yeah, you can say that about Brock Lesnar, Ronda Rousey, and for Matt Riddle as well. Matt Riddle fits in the same category as Lesnar and Rousey because his offense looks good, but it also doesn't look too fake. It looks real. This guy is a fighter. He's a certified fighter. And he's really transitioning very well to pro wrestling. He's got the personality for sure, and he's got a bright future if he can keep his head clean. Pete Dunne is my least favorite member of British Strong Style. I don't dislike him. I don't think he's bad, but I think too much of his offense, of his moveset looks fake, phony, contrived, whatever. I hate this finger break stunts because, of course, wrestling isn't real, and most of wrestling offense isn't looking convincing, but every child knows that this dude is not really breaking somebody's finger, and it looks, in my opinion, too fake and too shitty, and he doesn't need that. And these weird, how should I call these moves, when he tries to suplex the guys on the apron and flips them around, and I don't think he should wrestle a more ground-based, fundamental, realistic style. He is able to do that. He's got the talent to do that. He should keep his offense more realistic. That is my opinion on Pete Dunne. I really like him as a character together with Matt Riddle, but I would really, from an old school guy's perspective, enjoy it if he would change his moveset a little bit. That's what I'm saying. Therefore, this match had a little bit too much flippy floppy flashy stuff, but overall it was a solid match. I can't complain. Thumbs up. It was okay or good. As I say, it didn't blow my mind, but I don't want to complain about that. I don't want to complain about everything. What I want to complain about is the main event. You have Adam Cole against Tommaso Ciampa for the NXT Championship. I haven't been a big fan of Adam Cole so far. I think he obviously has a bright future ahead of him, and I also think he should split from the Undisputed Era and leave NXT to prove himself on Raw or SmackDown. He has the look, he has the right age, he has the body. He's a little bit small, but not too small. He is, I think, as big as Bret Hart or Shawn Michaels. He's not nobody should call him a midget. Some people still do. But in my opinion, he has the look to be potential next Shawn Michaels. Not only because he has long hair and does a super kick. But what I don't like about him on NXT is every fucking match with him is the same. Every NXT championship match I've seen from him on NXT is the same. Good match, good moves, credible moves for quite a while, and then the match just doesn't end. The match keeps on going and going and going, and you've got 700 million thousand. I said this many times in this review now, but Adam Cole is, I praised the other matches for ending clean with their finishing move. Adam Cole matches never do that. They always have 50,000 false finishes, kickouts after big moves. And it's always the same. His matches are always at least 5 or 10 minutes too long, and is exhausting and unrealistic, and I don't want to see this crap anymore. I don't know if Adam Cole himself is responsible for that or somebody books him in these overly long bullshit finishing sequences. I don't know who's responsible for that or what is the reason for that, but every time it's the same, and it was the same last night. And it just makes me sick, and I don't want to see this shit anymore. Like Tommaso Ciampa, he did that rope-assisted DDT on Cole, and then hit him with a fairy tale ending, and you tell me that that's not the finish of the match? That he kicks out of that? Adam Cole is not Kane. He's not the Big Show. He's not even The Rock or Steve Austin, whatever. He kicks out of that? And the Panama Sunrise, in my opinion, the most fake and phony bullshit move in wrestling today. I don't want to see that move ever again in my life, but he does that move and the opponent kicks out of it? You telling me that? This is just too much bullshit in Adam Cole matches. I don't want to blame Adam Cole himself for it. I want to blame whoever books this crap every single takeover, and I don't want to see it anymore. Overall, I don't want to say it was a bad match, but it was not a great match because the finishing bullshit dragged it down a lot. The first 15 to 20 minutes of the match were perfectly fine. This was perfectly executed professional wrestling by two men who know their profession and who can have a great match. But my God, don't give me 97 billion kickouts in every single Adam Cole match on TakeOver or in general on television. I don't want to see this anymore, and this pisses me off big time. Point said, I want to see Adam Cole lose the championship at the next TakeOver and then go to Raw or SmackDown on his own. I don't think Roderick Strong will survive on Raw or SmackDown because his promo skills are too cringeworthy. I don't think Fish and O'Reilly should leave NXT, but I'm not the biggest. I've never been the biggest fan of the Undisputed Era, and I think Adam Cole needs to prove himself on his own after April. Give the title to the Velveteen Dream, the next TakeOver, and leave NXT. We obviously will see the Dream as the challenger in Florida, but that's a different topic. I don't want to talk too much about it now. How in the world are we supposed to cheer for the Dream if he does this creepy shit with Marina Shafir and Roderick Strong's son? This is not how you book a baby face, even if it's the Velveteen Dream. My God. But that's just a side note now. The match ended with Johnny Gargano attacking Tommaso Ciampa, costing him the title. And I'm not 100% sure what to think about that. I've never been the biggest fan of their rivalry. I think they had a tremendous match in the Cruiserweight, one and only Cruiserweight Classic. That was an incredible match. I thought their rivalry on NXT was always very overrated. They had good matches, but not these 5 or 6 or 7 5, 6 or 7 star rating classics that everyone gave them. I never thought their matches were that good. I also had these problems I have with Adam Cole matches then, if I could remember it correctly, that there was always too much of everything in the Ciampa Gargano matches. Of course, they were never able to tell the end of the story because of Ciampa's injury. They could not end that rivalry on their own terms, and then everything got a little bit confused. At some point I didn't understand anymore if Gargano was a face or a heel, and then they were together again, and then Gargano won the title and Ciampa came back to cheer for him. I understand that because love and hate go hand in hand, and after all, they were still probably former best friends, and I could understand that Ciampa was happy for Gargano to win the title after all, and that they got back together at Worlds Collide, and it was all confusing, but at some point, this is how life works, and if that dude was your best friend in the past, you could get together with him. But also, I understand that Gargano now turns on Ciampa again, because why should he have forgotten that Ciampa fucked with him in the past, that he turned his back on him? You can now make the point that Gargano is that both guys are like tweeners, not real face, not real heels. that you have some shades of gray in there, and I would like that. I would think that would be good. Gargano could, for example, say, "Hey, Ciampa, I had forgotten about the stuff you had done to me in the past, and we were a team again at Worlds Collide and blah blah blah, but I had won the title last year and I didn't want to think about it anymore, but now when I think about it, I still don't forgive you, and that's why I cost you the title, and that's why you can suck my dick and you can fight me at TakeOver in Florida." Stuff like that goes through my mind. That would be an effective way of finishing the story now, that neither man is a real face or a heel, and that you have, as I said, some shades of gray in the character work. But I think you will now get cliche heel Johnny, who's an ass, and face Ciampa, who got screwed. I'm not sure. Maybe they will tell the story in the way I hope they will do. I didn't need to see that final Gargano and Ciampa match because, as I said, I never liked the rivalry that much as everyone else did. But it's okay. Finish the storyline now that both men are healthy again, and then leave us with that alone forever. I think obviously, as I said, you will see Dream versus Cole at the next TakeOver. You will see Gargano versus Ciampa. Not sure if you will see a women's title match. The Broserweights will defend the title, I think, against whoever, maybe a multi-team ladder match or something. Then you still have the Cruiserweight Cruiserweight title to get some shine at the next TakeOver. And I think to end this review on a positive note, my overall opinion on NXT TakeOver Portland is that it was a very good show. There was a lot I had to complain about. There was a lot I didn't like. But at the end of the day, it entertained me. I cared about what I saw. And it makes me want to watch the next few weeks of NXT program more than I did in the past few months. So I think I don't want to give ratings or grades, but I think it was a good show. There's still, maybe even a very good show. There's still a lot of room for improvement. Stuff that pisses me off, little details that they get wrong in my opinion, and stuff that makes me angry. But overall, I care about the NXT product, and it was a good show, and it entertained me, and I can absolutely recommend watching NXT TakeOver Portland. So these were my 5 cents on the show. I will keep on reviewing at least the big events for the next few months. I hope you enjoyed it a little bit, and tune in the next times. Discuss your views, share your views on the show in the comment section below. Send me a message, talk about it. We will see. My name is Michael Lemoncookie, and I love professional wrestling. Bye bye. And what a cheesy line to end the show. But nothing but the truth. Bye bye.